How's everybody doing today? Happy Sunday if you're here with us live, and happy whatever day it might be if you're watching the replay. I wanted to talk to you guys about something a little different today. I get a lot of questions about how to put together content that can connect with the target audience, how to edit things in a way that people will actually enjoy watching them. So I wanted to do something a little different today. I thought I would take probably the highest performing video on my channel, which was one I did about how to edit like Zach King using Filmora. And I want to talk a bit about what I did to figure out a target that could potentially drive a lot of views, and then what I actually did in that edit and show you some of the things, because I get a lot of questions about that edit where people ask, like, why did you do it that way? And what was that part for? And did you need to do that? And I don't understand. And as much as I try to simplify things in my tutorial, sometimes I miss the mark. I'm not perfect. So we'll see if we can get to them. And if you have questions along the way, feel free to shout them out. Doug Houston, good to see you, my friend. Always a pleasure. Inura, nice to see you. Dale, what's going on, buddy? Quote Speak, what's happening, pal? And Iggy, hey, man, always a pleasure. So, yeah, listen. So I had done this video that was... how to edit like Zach King and Filmora. And the target was really important. You guys who have been on my channel before probably know that, I do a lot of content that I show people how to do different tutorials and video edits and things like that. I'm trying to get them through the video editing process so that the content that you make has a better chance of doing well on the platform. Hey, I appreciate the super chat, Como. Very nice of you to throw some cash my way. I appreciate that. So what I wanted to do was think about, like, how can I make a video that would potentially drive this many views? And just to be really quick here, what I had done is I had spent years I've made over 100 Filmora videos. I sort of knew my style. I knew that I kind of built them a little differently. They were very quick. Most of them are under, 3-4 minutes long, somewhere in there. I tried to get right to the point, and it was a combination of being quick and trying to do things that people hadn't done. I was always trying to do something that people hadn't seen before, at least in Filmora, so that I was always trying to tackle new things. I didn't want to just repeat the obvious. I didn't want to just teach people how to use the software. I always wanted to teach people how to think outside the box and how to focus more on the edit and create things they might see in their heads. So that was a really great target, and I noticed that people had been asking me about Zach King style edits, and I noticed that Zach King's own content was doing really well here on YouTube and on TikTok. So the timing was really great. I figured if I could make a video that showed people how to edit like Zach King, and he's got these really advanced edits. Zach is sort of one part magician, one part great video editor, and he combines them to do these amazing edits that look like magic tricks that half rely on actual illusion, and and the other half is relying on the editing skills to pull off things you can't do just in real life. So what I did was I tried to find a target that I thought made a lot of sense. Like, what was something that was visually attractive? And I went through all the different Zach King effects or edits that he had done, and the one I settled on was this one where he had bounced a ping pong ball into a frying pan, and when the ping pong ball landed in the frying pan, it opened up like an egg. It turned right into a fried egg. And I was like, I think I can do that. I think I can pull that off. And I wanted to make sure I could do it in Filmora, because I didn't want it to be something that you would need super advanced video editing software to pull off. And as you guys know, I use Filmora, Movavi, mostly really intermediate level video editing software to pull off really fast type edits. I don't want to spend a lot of time. I like a quick workflow. Mr. Paul Peck in the house. Good to see you, Mr. Paul Peck, ladies and gentlemen. So I always try to do things to make sure that, that what I do try to show people, they could take the technique and maybe do it in a different software too. It's not just, you have to do it in Filmora, you have to do it in Movavi. So let me show you what I was working with here. I'm going to move some things around. Let me see if I can share my screen over here. Here we go. Let's add that to the stream. So this is the actual edit. This was the edit. Let me pull this up full screen. And some people, let me just play it through. All right, I'll play it through. Hopefully you'll be able to hear this okay, but let me play this through. And that was the long and short of it right there, right? So it was basically me bouncing that ping pong ball on a cutting board that I had put on the table. I bounced it a few times to show that it clearly was a ping pong ball. And then on the last bounce, it bounces off. I aimed, it took me a lot of tries to get this right. I aimed it so it would hopefully land fairly center in that pan right there. And right when it hits, bam, it turns into an egg, all right? Kind of a cool trick, kind of a cool effect. Paul, I appreciate the super sticker, my friend. That's very nice of you. Speaking of guys who can drive a lot of views, Mr. Paul Peck. He's no joke. He's no joke, my friends. I appreciate that, Paul. Thank you. But you can see it was a pretty simple edit. But parts of this confused people. I'm going to walk right through. If you look at this stack, let me go full screen so you can see. Check out this edit stack. There are 1, 2, 3 video and audio tracks. Video and image tracks. This top one's a video track. That's just an image, and that's a video track. And then I have 3 audio tracks, okay, below it. Those are these green ones here. And as you can see, there's not a lot to it. It's only 6 tracks total, and there's not a whole lot going on. So let me explain to you what I actually did. Hey, Leela, good to see you, pal. What I actually did here was I had started with this. Let me turn off all of these other sounds and everything and overlays. I started with this main footage that was me just doing the bounce. And if you see, I bounced it a few times so you could see it was clearly a ping pong ball. And then it bounced into the pan and then bounced right back out. Right? You could see it went right back out there. And that was, now I had to figure out how to turn this into an egg, right? Because you could see it clearly bounced out of the pan. So step number 1 I said, all right, I need a fried egg. I need this to turn in the pan into a fried egg. So I tried to really light this. So I threw a lot of light down to reduce the amount of shadows. And if you're wondering why that's important, is anytime if I was doing more than one thing and combining shots, I didn't want different shadows throwing the shot off as I combined the footage, right? Because one was me bouncing a ping pong ball. What I did next, I had to make sure that I got this correct. Let me see if I can turn this on for you. What I did here was, this was just me. I'm going to kill all of this. This was just me. I have a mask on that. Let me turn it off. I was just dropping in an egg from up above. Let me go full screen with this so you can see it. Can you see right here? This is just, if I go full screen here, this is just, if you can see the stream, I had an egg in a cup and I literally poured it out of the cup and I just poured it into the pan. And that's all that was. So that was my second piece of footage. One was me bouncing off to the side, that ping pong ball in and out of the pan. And then the other one is I came back afterwards, stood over the pan out of shot, and then dropped an egg, a broken egg from a cup down into the pan. So those were the 2 original pieces, okay? That's where I started. So knowing those 2 things, I had to figure out how to combine them. And I've had a lot of people ask me questions where they'll say things like, well, Daniel, why didn't you just split the footage right where the egg hit the pan? And it's more difficult than that. And I actually had people some people would ask me really nice questions. Like, why did you do this one thing? Or why did you add that in? Why couldn't you have done that more simply? And then some people actually yelled at me and said, you did too many steps. You didn't need to do all that. And I always would answer, well, if you think that's true, then, put your money where your mouth is. Prove me wrong. Go make it yourself. And if you can make it and look better than mine, doing it simpler, then show me how you did it. But a lot of people, I think sometimes it's my fault that I don't explain every step as fully as I could. And sometimes coming up with these steps really comes down to a matter of seeing in your head what you want it to look like and then figuring out how to make that happen in your video editing software, right? Does it make sense? So what I did, let me show you some of the layers here and why they existed. The first problem I had as I was sitting here was, okay, here's the ping pong ball. It bounces out of the pan, right? So that's problematic. I can't have it bouncing out of the pan. So I had to do something to get rid of the bouncing out of the pan, okay? So what I had done was I had taken a single shot. Let me see if I can show you right here. This is that single shot. And all this is, it was a shot I had taken while I was kind of out of scene. It was after the ping pong ball had bounced out. So this track you're seeing here is just an image track. So it's just one snapshot I took from the footage, you know, back at near the end after my hand had kind of pulled out. You can still see my hand up on the left a little, but I wanted that really simple, nothing happening image where the lighting would be perfect. It would look just like the rest of the shot. And I took a snapshot. But then what I did to that snapshot is I actually added a mask layer. And if I turn on the mask I added, you can see it was just a mask and it cut off half the shot. So it's only really showing, you know, this everything of me over there because I was still moving is now out of the way. So you're only seeing the right half from the pan over. Most of you know how to put a mask track on if you just click on whatever track is in your timeline. Up under your effects tab, you can actually search for it. It's called image mask using the search bar up here. And that's the mask right up here in the left-hand corner. I just drag that down onto my footage. And then once it's on my footage, you can control it from the image tab. If you double left click on your footage in your timeline, in the upper left at the bottom, any effects you've added on will be on this video effects checked box. Scroll down and that's where you can select, you know, the kind of mask you want to put on it. As you can see, I have a 50-50 mask where it's blocking everything on the left and and it's allowing everything on the right to show through, you know, to appear. And I moved it a bit. You can see this is the X and Y here. Let me make sure I got that right. 0. It was the X I moved a bit. This will control where it is, right? So I'm moving around the mask. So I just moved it over. So I was like right about the edge of the pan, something like that was good. So now I had two elements here. If you understand, people ask me, well, why did you put that image there? And this is exactly why. Hey, Mario's Interview Show. Welcome to the battalion. If you go to my YouTube channel, you will see there's a memberships tab that has all the things that are available to you now. And if you scroll down, there is a open up the drop-down menu. There's a Facebook group that you definitely want to join. Just click on that link. It'll send you over to the Facebook group and let me know your channel name, put your URL, or just say it's Mario's Interview Show so that I know it's you. And welcome to the battalion. Glad to have you with us, pal. So let me continue where I was. So here's that mask. So I have the track underneath it, that main footage turned off. Let me turn that back on. And now you can see it's fairly flawless. You can't tell. The only difference is see up in the right here, see the ping pong ball? Oh, I've got my branding in the way. Hang on a sec. Let me turn the branding off. See up in the right, can you see the ping pong ball bouncing out? Here it is in the upper right. It bounced out. I put that image right where the ping pong ball hit the pan and before it bounced out. And by introducing that image with the mask on it, what it did was it now just looks like the ping pong ball disappeared. You seeing that? It bounces in and the ping pong ball, boom, is gone. So that was the intention of that mask. That was my first hurdle. How do I eliminate the ping pong ball bouncing out of the pan? Let's start. I'll take a quick picture. I'll mask it and it'll just look like the image, you know, it'll look like the pan's still there and the ping pong ball disappeared. Make sense? So I needed to get that done first. Now, the second thing I needed to do was to get an egg splatter in the pan. And as I showed before, I had this egg dripping in. Let me turn this on. So here's this egg being poured in. Now, the problem is it has a couple issues. One, in my original footage underneath, I still had my hand moving. Can you see this in the upper left? See my hand moving? That was super important for me to let me still be in the shot with my hand moving because it helped sell the shot. If I actually wish I was in it a little bit more. I wish I had left my hand in a hair more so you really felt me being in the shot. But me still moving and my hand pulling away, it tricks the eye into thinking this is all happening in real time. This is really happening in front of me. So I definitely wanted to be in the shot. But if I introduce this egg dropping into the pan, now it covers my hand. And I could have said, all right, let me try it this way. Let me just pull my hand out quickly and switch to the shot of the egg in the pan, right? That's a possibility, but even the egg dropping created different shadows and things going on. And where I was, as much as I tried to light this, those lighting difference are things that people can spot in an instant. The minute you make a hard switch like that, your eye catches the fact that something changed. The lighting got a little different, something's off. So I really needed to not just switch, if I couldn't just switch to this because now my hand is missing from the shot. And the other thing is you see the egg dropping in from above. That was the biggest problem, is you can clearly see that I'm spilling in eggs from up above, right? Can you all see that stream up there? Let me go full screen here. See that stream of egg coming right down here? That's like, yeah, well, that's a giveaway. I can't have that happen. So what I did was I took that track, all right? Let me turn everything else off here so you can just see that track. And I added another mask onto this track, but this time I used a circular, like an oval mask. Let me turn these on. And the oval mask, I moved around. Let me just show you the mask I used, this oval one. And I moved it around so that it really only showed the bottom of the pan. Like I swung this thing around, like you can see I can move the mask where I want. I said, let me just get it so it just kind of shows the bottom of the pan, all right? And I literally kind of traced the shape of the entire pan. If I turn this on, you can see a little better. I literally traced that shape of the interior bottom of the pan. Whoops, I just moved it. You can see when I move it. And what that mask did was you're only seeing what's in the pan now from the dropped egg shot. So that was why I needed this track. One, to get the egg to show up, and then I needed to mask it so it's really showing three things at this point. It's showing the track of with my hand still moving, that video. The next thing you're seeing is this image track above that that's blocking the ping pong ball bouncing out. And then lastly, I've added that egg drop in it so that when you put all of these together, what you get is this fluid effect where it looks like that thing just fell into the pan, my hand's still moving, and it turned into a fried egg, right? And a lot of people, I've had some of the weirdest comments on this video. There's a couple more things I'll show you, but I've had some of the weirdest comments. Some people said, where'd the shell go? You should have let the shell drop in. And it was a good point. I'm like, yeah, I guess I could have just dropped a whole egg in and let the shell shatter. But on Zach King's version that I was duplicating, he didn't. He bounced it and it turned into like breakfast. So I was like, all right, I'll do what Zach King did to show, because I'm calling it the Zach King effect. If I left the shell in, people probably would have yelled at me for that. So that was one of those damned if you do, damned if you don't. So I tried to replicate what he did. Another thing people have asked me about is, the sound of it. How do they get the sizzle sounds and things like that to get those to really seem realistic? And let me show you that really quickly. If you notice in the tracks below, let me freak you out here. Let me turn this. I've got this track muted. The actual audio is so horrible because there was so many things going on to try to mic everything. I couldn't get the mics close enough in shot. So there's all this ambient room noise. This you can hear what the actual track sounded like. Hear all this noise? Doink. Doink. So what I knew right off the bat was, okay, I can't use the audio. I'm going to have to fake it. And what I did was I started by finding a ping pong ball bouncing. That's this track right here, the one you see cut up into pieces. It's just a ping pong ball sound effect. I went and I muted the main track and I added in this ping pong ball sound effect that I got from, I think I got it from storyblocks.com, as I think is where I got it. Sometimes you can find them on the YouTube audio library too, but I added that in and it's a much cleaner sound. I just had to time it every time the ping pong ball hit the cutting board right there. I was like, all right, I have to have the ping pong ball sound. Right. So there was one, and I actually added one right where it hit the pan too. So that's just that slight, doink, doink sound. And then I needed the real sizzle of something in a hot pan. So I actually found two effects that I stacked together right here that were just both kind of sizzling sound effects, water sizzle, pan sizzle. One was called frying pan, one was called pan water sizzle effect, right? And they're just two audio effects I stacked right there. And that was really it. Main track, footage, a piece of an image above it to block out where the ping pong ball left, and then the egg falling in that was masked, so you only see the egg where it hits the pan, not dropping in from above. A little sound effects. Voila. There we are. Nice and easy, right? And it's funny, a lot of people thought this was a really tough effect. And I said right from the get-go, all of the time I spent on it was not in editing. I probably had this edited together in 5 or 10 minutes. It was fast edit. I spent more time finding the ping pong ball sound than I did doing the edit, right? It was really quick. It was the time I really spent was setting up the shot and getting the shot right. Because there was a few things I needed to combine. And it's something to think about if you're trying to create a video that will do really well on the platform. Try to do something people haven't seen, something that makes you unique, that can really make you stand out. And a lot of people, although they'd seen Zach King do this effect, they hadn't seen anyone show them how to do this particular effect in Filmora software that a lot of people were using. Real simplified. It's really the technique. So I really wanted to bring this to my Filmora tutorials and say, I haven't seen anyone do this. Let me do that. I didn't want to just teach. A lot of people do Filmora tutorials and they just sort of teach you how to use the software. And I never wanted to be that guy. I wanted to be a guy who teaches technique, who comes up with, think about fun ideas, things that can make you stand out, things that can make you look unique as compared to other things. So I'm always teaching people how to think about things differently and think outside of the box. So that simple edit, when I put that thing up, started doing really well for me right off the bat. And I knew it would. I had done enough Filmora tutorials on my channel that I knew that there was going to be a lot of interest in it. I did the research, the keyword research. A lot of people are asking about Zach King effects and how to pull them off, the editing techniques and tricks. A lot of people had asked how to do it in Filmora, and I could not find a single Filmora video that really explained any of these cool tricks well. Certainly not this one. So I put it together knowing this will probably do well. And it's gone on to drive in under a year. I think it's 11 months old now. It's gone on to drive like 1.3, almost 1.4 million views, which is a lot for my channel. That is a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot for someone like me. And especially doing tutorials, because tutorials can be like really tricky to try to drive a lot of views because there's not always a lot of interest. So this was a crossover. I had people comment that would say, I just watched this whole video and I don't even own Filmora or video edit. They watched it because it was interesting enough teaching people how to, pull back the curtain, how to do the magic trick. But a lot of people just watched just to learn because it wasn't that long. Again, I think it was a 4-minute video, if that. And the entire tutorial. So it hit on a bunch of levels. Tech creators asking, hey Dan, I have a quick question. What font do you use for your thumbnails? It really attracts a lot of attention. It depends. In this one, the one that I'm doing here, this is a real quick live stream one. This font up here is actually, that's Impact, but it's got a little shadow and 3-dimensionality I put onto it. But it's just an Impact font, really standard. I like a real bold, simple, easy to read font. So I try to stick with that. That's available in Filmora. Let me quickly check some of the comments we've been getting here to make sure I'm up to speed. Let me see. Answers. You can also mute the audio if I'm not going to use delete. Were you talking about how I muted that? Was that the question originally? The way I mute stuff, the way you mute anything in here, by the way, in case I went too quickly, sometimes I do. If you right click on anything in your timeline, it opens up options for that. So I'm right clicking on each of these. And if you look, if it has audio in it, and you right click, you'll see the option here to mute. You can also do it Control-Shift+M if you like using a lot of keyboard shortcuts, but this is how I mute it. The other way you can mute it is also, this is unmuted. If I click on this in the upper left and I click on audio, I can drag the volume all the way down. That's one way to mute that. Or you could go to the master mixer, which is right here, and here's each track individually, and I could that's where it's like the fader for every track you have. And you could go, okay, that was track 1. I'm going to pull down the volume on track 1. It's a lot of different ways to change volumes overall. I personally like just right clicking and muting it if I'm not going to use any of the audio. Or you could also, sometimes I'll do this other trick where you can detach the audio. So if you right click and then hit detach, it'll pull it out and put it on a separate track. Then you can decide what you want to do with it. You could even delete it completely. So now that you don't even have to worry about the audio anymore, and now the audio would be gone from that track. I just did Control Z and it undid that last move. That's what you just saw. But that's really simple, real simple, easy, nothing fancy here. This whole edit was really nothing super fancy. It was really just thinking things through to try to figure out what my target audience really wanted to see, and then figuring out a way to do it that was straight ahead, right to the point. I like the idea of bouncing the thing and then just popping it into the pan and going, there you go. So I showed everybody how to do it, what it looked like, and then I backtracked and showed them how to build it. And again, it was all within 4 minutes. It worked out really well. So the thing that you want to think about when you're trying to develop content for your own channels is really think about where some of those holes are out there, things that people haven't made, haven't done, haven't talked about, or a new and interesting way to do some of those things. I talked about this in our last live stream. I had my buddy Matt Geelan on from Little Monster, and he was talking about the different formats. That was a great live stream, thinking about how to format things differently so that your content can stand out from the rest. Because I do a lot of formatting too. Like mine's one part tutorial. It's one part entertainment in there too. It's got one part, like a bit of a narrative in there explaining some things. So it's an explainer video too. So I'm commenting on something that someone else did, and I'm now, showing you how to actually do it. So there's a lot of different things that go on in these tutorials, as simple as they are. But being able to get something in, out, quick, clean, and connect with people is really what helped this video propel. I'm quickly just looking at the chat. Give me a second to catch up. There's a lot of different questions. How did you learn editing, Daniel? Who was your role model, inspiration? Great question. Boy, I like a channel called Film Riot. Have you ever seen Film Riot? They do higher end tutorial stuff, but they do a similar thing. They were one of the channels that really inspired me because they would actually create these effects, and they have a great sense of humor. They have a whole staff, and they'd build these effects and do them, and then break down how they did some of those effects. So I like the idea of it, and I thought that's a great way to do tutorials. They don't always do them that way, but I like the idea. I was trying to figure out how to do the same thing. I really wanted to show people the thing and then quickly explain to them. The thing about Film Riot is a lot of theirs are very in depth, right? They use VFX and high-end video editing software to pull off some elaborate visual effects. And I wanted to do something more simple. I didn't want crazy effects. I wanted simple things that we would use kind of every day or, most days of the week to do basic stuff, learning how to mask certain things out, learning how to use multiple pieces of footage and interlay images and video together and put sound effects underneath them. So I like real simple stuff that a lot of people out there, they don't want a real heavy technical video tutorial. They want to learn, just show me something basic that I don't know, that I can learn and that I can apply to give me a technique that I can apply in the future in different ways. How can if I ever need to make something disappear? Oh, I know Daniel showed me how to turn something into something else in that Zach King video. So maybe if I'm trying to do a similar thing, I can take the lessons I learned from that video and then apply them to a new thing that I'm doing. So it's always where you can apply those in. So I taught myself was a real question. The inspiration was a lot of different people. I also liked, there's a couple other tutorial channels out there, but I like anybody who's got a sense of humor. I like things that are fun. So I always wanted my videos to be fun. They should be kind of stupid. I'm not afraid to make fun of myself and make myself look like an idiot. So I always felt like if it's fun and you can learn at the same time, then that is probably a win, because tutorials are boring. You watch a tutorial, it's it takes forever to get to the point. No, it's just show me how to do the thing. I just want to learn it. So I wanted to do something really quick and easy. So hopefully some of the stuff I've done in techniques really help do that. If I don't, let me know if I missed the mark. Love from India. Thanks for the tutorial though. Hey, my love right back at you, my friend. Stay safe over there. I know India's still going through some tough times with the pandemic, and I've really been worried about all my friends out there, all the people who are in the community who are living in India, and it's tough. Stay safe. All right, mask up. Take care of yourselves. All right. I know we had that same issue here in the United States. So I know what it's like to be there. Let me see if I can find some of these questions. Let's say, let me see if I can find this one. Sari S. Official asked, how long have you been editing on Filmora? And congrats on getting the 1 million views. That's amazing. Appreciate that. I have been editing on Filmora for about a little over 3 years. I think I started, it's a little over 3 years, about 3.5 years. I wasn't really a video editor. I've been video editing completely, since I was a kid. I've been playing around and stuff. I didn't get serious about it and start trying to really learn video editing until about 4 or 5 years ago, where I was doing basic edits. I used to do stuff like on iMovie, It's just one of those things that you're constantly trying to improve. Exactly like how do you create content at home during COVID? I make a lot of this video I just showed. I made sitting in my kitchen. So there's always a way to make content, right? There's always something you can do. When we were talking about, learning, here's one of the things. I look at this video and I go, you know what I made a mistake on? Can anyone spot the mistake here? When I did this, let me go full screen. I let that cup stay poured and you can still see stuff dripping into the pan after the splash. See the little drips coming in? Here's one. Like they were still little drips coming in right there back and forth. Those are the kind of things that drive me crazy as I get better at editing. It was a dumb thing. I always say it comes down to setting up your shot. The difference between good and great is setting up your shot. And if I had just poured the egg in and immediately put the cup straight up, it should have just done a single splash. But like an imbecile, because I wasn't learning this from anybody. I was like trying to figure out how to do it. So I had to go, okay, the ping pong ball, I got to get the right angle. Now I need to get an egg to drop into a pan. So I guess I'll stand over the pan with the egg in a cup and then pour it in. But I should have stopped pouring because that little extra drips look silly to me when I see the egg in the pan and there's a few more things dripping in. It gives away a thing that I don't want to give away. So that's like things you'll learn along the way, right? When you're thinking about how to make better content, like always think about how you're going to set up your shot, how you're going to, the pieces of it you need, how you're going to light it, how you're going to film it, and then how you're going to put it all together in the edit. Because knowing what you'll need for ingredients once you get to your edit is really important. It's really knowing all the different things that you're going to need to put it together so you can sit and go, I can edit this right nice and quick, because I knew in my head what I wanted to see and what I needed to do that. You and Filmright, yeah, Cinecom, Cinecom's great too. Filmright's fantastic. You probably know this, right, Charles? Both of them, Filmright gets, Cinecom's a little less advanced. They do some pretty advanced stuff too. Filmright gets a little deeper. Those guys actually do more movie-esque, dramatic stuff, but some of it's really amazing and fun to watch. It's more advanced than I would want to do every day. But it's pretty awesome. That's so great. If you haven't checked either one of them out, definitely check out both Filmright and Cinecom. Both good. Been using about a year too. Danny, I'm glad they've helped, man. I appreciate that. Using it about a year, my videos have helped. That's always what I'm trying to do, is help you guys out there learn to edit, learn how to edit a little bit better, learn how to get your technique down. It's never just about the trick. It's about what value you bring in your videos. That's what really drives the views, right? How to make an egg fry. How to make an egg fry. I used to have a cooking channel. I should have done it on there, right? Become a cooking channel. Forget about the trick. Let's just make breakfast. I'll show you how to make breakfast. How do we make different sound effect in a clip and colors too? I have a whole video on that. I actually showed how I make my own sound effects. Now you can either get sound effects. Here, let me do this. You can get sound effects from in YouTube. Let me bring this over and share my screen. In YouTube, if you go to YouTube and you click on, let me find this really quickly for you so that I can find it. Inside of YouTube Studio, let me find it. Yeah, okay, right over. Let me share the screen. In YouTube Studio, over on the left, can you see down at the very left on the left-hand side, it says Audio Library. If you click on that, anything in here, let me see if I can make this. Is this big enough? Can you see what's going on? This is all free music. This is all free sound effects. And some of them have what they call an attribution. meaning some of them you might find in some of the music. If you choose it, it might have these are all standard license. Sometimes they have attributions. You have to put a little something in your description. It's just a bit of text you got to copy. But this is a great place. You can use any video that's hosted on YouTube. You can use any of the stuff. You can't use this stuff to go make videos for like clients and commercials that are going to be made for their websites. But anything that's hosted on YouTube, you can use any of this stuff for free, royalty-free, sound and sound effects, audio, this music. It's really cool. So that's one of my favorite go-to places. It gets better every year. So I'm a big fan of the YouTube audio library. If you're not using it, you should. They've got some really great sound effects that do the kind of things you want to do a lot of times. You know, it's simple things like eggs frying and wood blocks, people walking, things, glass breaking, those kind of things. You can get all crowd noises. You can get all that stuff right from the YouTube audio library. And a lot of times that's the thing, is like, as you saw in this edit, my audio was horrible on the main track. So I replaced it. I just replaced it. I reconstructed what I needed to have happen. I needed to hear the ping pong ball, and I needed to hear the egg hitting the pan and sizzling. So I just found those effects, dropped them in. Perfect. Nice and easy. Let's see. Ronald says, your channel inspired me so much. From your channel where I am, learned from there a lot. Thanks. Greetings from Indonesia. Good to see you, my friend. Thanks for being here. Yeah, I'm glad it's been an inspiration. That was always my goal. I've had people who just try to replicate what I do. And I always said that was never the goal. The goal of this channel was never to show you, go make the exact same thing I made. I'm hoping that you'll take the lessons you learned in the tutorials and go, now I know how to do that and I can apply it in a different situation. If I show you how to do things like walking through text, I've done that before. I did silly things like I turned myself into the annoying orange. It was something I had never seen anyone do. And people had asked, like, can you do like an annoying orange effect with Filmora? And I went, I wonder if you can. Let's go find out. And I went, and sure enough, I was able to do it. And it's been copied a lot. I think even Filmora, their own YouTube channel, copied me and tried to pull off the same thing. I had one guy copy that, and I can't remember who he was from, but his accent was fantastic. And he literally copied me down to he didn't steal my video, but he copied exactly what I did. And he even said, stick around. I'm going to show you how. I was like, he took my stick around line. It was really funny. So stuff like that, you know, it makes me smile on the inside, because I know someone watched something I did. His video never really got any views, of course, because it's not original. But it was fun to watch someone at least take the thing that I had done and then try to learn it themselves. I love it when I see people apply it differently. You know, when someone takes something and does something I hadn't even thought of, but used the same technique and said, hey, I learned this technique from you, but I did a totally different thing. Check this out. And they show me something I wasn't even thinking of. I also love when I get questions in any of the comments where people like ask me, how do you do something? And I haven't thought of it. You know, people ask silly things like, how do you, remove the background of your video without a green screen? And I have to tell people 19 million times that you can't in Filmora. But, I love it when people come up with ideas and people will say, oh, how do you do this or how do you do that? Because then I can try it, see if I can do it. And if it works out, a lot of times I'll shout them out in the video. If someone comes up with a great idea, I'll pin their comment right inside of the video and say, so-and-so asked me about this. So it's really fun to hear those things and talk to anyone out there who has ideas. I have a channel and people love my videos. I see tutorials too. Oh, cool. Awesome, pal. I'm glad I'm glad to see that they've been helpful. Make more Filmora tutorials like I did. Here's the funny thing. This is why I actually have on my channel a whole playlist of them. But of course, none of them performed the way that first one did, because it was lightning in a bottle. I knew I put so much time and effort learning what would connect that sometimes people think, oh, that's it. Once you do it, you can just keep doing it again. Or someone else will go, well, I'll go make a Zach King video. If you do something original, yeah, it can definitely connect. But I've made, let me share my screen. I've made, how many of them did I make? Edit like Zach King. Let me see this. There are a total of 4 different ones. I did the quick change close effect, where he pulls that one is done about 87,000 views. I got to get rid of the commercials on this. I got to get paid for premium on this brand. Jonas. So I have my son do this one.
Want to go to the beach?
When?
Like right now. Go get ready.
I am ready.
Let's go.
That was kind of fun. That was kind of fun. We did that one. That was another one I thought through too. But you know, so there's about 4 different ones, and none of them have I don't think anyone's broken 100,000 views yet. 70, 80, 70, 80, 30, 40. Yeah. So there's other ones there, but you know, that's lightning in a bottle. If you really think about something that hasn't been done, you have one moment to capture that. And I think I nailed it with the original Zach King. I really thought about what trick would be really cool, and the frying pan one just really spoke to me, and it spoke to a lot of people. So I was glad that was the one I led with. Let's see, what streaming software to use? I don't see any taskbar. So I'm using StreamYard right now. And StreamYard is actually a co-sponsor of these live streams I do here on my channel. They're a fantastic company. I have links down in the description, and I put them in the pinned comment afterwards, where you can go sign up for StreamYard and start live streaming with it today for free. They actually have a free version you can get on there. I think you're allowed to go up to like 20 hours a month. I can't remember the specific limit. It's more than I ever live stream a month. But yeah, you can start using it. And then I use the pro version, which allows me to do more of my own branded overlays. Things like, like it'll have, I can put these things up in the corner, and I can do my own video clips and change backgrounds and stuff, so that when I'm doing things like this, I can have the Daniel Batal. Well, I can't shrink down, can I? I have to put it back in. I have the Daniel Batal in the background. So there's different things, but StreamYard, definitely try StreamYard out. It's the easiest way to start live streaming. And I love the software. I think it's just great software. It's so easy to use, to just get right in and start. You can invite guests really easily. And the quality's decent. That's the main thing, is I think it should be easy to use and the quality's good. And the other sponsor I need to thank is our friends over at Spreadshop, who's your number one source for creating merch. If you are doing live streams and stuff, a lot of times it's really great to figure out ways that you can drive more revenue. And one easy way to do that is to start selling merch. Or even when you're in your own live streams and on your videos and you want to have branded merch that has your own thing on it, the best way to do that is print on demand. And Spreadshop is the best print-on-demand company out there. They're now integrated with YouTube, so you can actually, if you have the merch shelf, you can actually start posting your merchandise under your videos and above your live streams pinned up there. Really, really easy to use too. And a lot of people have asked me about that, what print-on-demand is. And really simply is they pay for the t-shirt, they pay for the printing, they pay for everything, they pay for the shipping. All they do is use your design, and then once you sell it, if you sell it, someone says, I want that one shirt, they print one shirt, send that out, they doesn't charge you a thing, and then you decide how much profit margin you want on top of that. So let's say they say, oh, we can print that shirt for $12. Then you say, okay, I'd like to sell it for $15. So you get the extra $3. And you can decide what price point you want on different items, because they have everything from, Spreadshop has everything from coffee mugs to backpacks to computer bags to aprons to t-shirts to sweatshirts, hoodies, you name it, they've got it. So yeah, if you're interested in doing any kind of merch and making money through doing merch or having your own branded merch, Spreadshop, the links are down below. Check them out. Let me quickly run through some of these other ones, see if I've missed. Quick question, why didn't you add a favicon to your website? I'm not sure I know what you're asking. Why didn't you add a favicon to your website? In reference to where? On YouTube? Most of my stuff, I'm trying to figure out where you're referencing. You mean in the links in my channel art? Explain that better and I'll give you a better answer. I do link to my website, but the main goal of YouTube, my website's really for channel consultation stuff. That's what my website's really all about. So people who go to my website are booking time with me personally to help them, coach them to grow their channels. So that's really what that's about. So I tend not to talk about that as much on my channel. My channel's really about helping creators grow, and they know it's there. People who are aware that I do consultations, they can book in with me. Let me see. How do you do an out of context effect? I have no idea what that means. An out of context effect. Could you put that question into context for me? Thank you. I would appreciate it. Gina, good to see you too. Let me see. I'm just trying to get through some of the questions here. StreamYard is absolutely the best. No question about it. Special Ed Answers. Super simple. Definitely check them out. Links to both StreamYard and Spreadshop in the description of this live stream. Definitely worth spending some time down there. Just subscribe to StreamYard and to get 10 guests. Yeah, the guests are great. It's really cool. It's so easy. You just send an invite. Like if I want someone on my live stream with me here, you've seen me do this with D. Niman or Matt Geelan. You just click a button and it sends an invite code. They just click that code and they show up. You're on. It's browser based, meaning StreamYard does all the heavy lifting. People just show up. You click the button, add them into the stream. You're not downloading any software. Nice and simple. Nice and simple. Trying to find a few questions here. I use OBS to stream and it takes around a couple of hours. You're right. I used to use Streamlabs OBS. They call it slobs. And it would. I have like all the switching gear still. I mean, I still use, so some of it, let me see if I can pull that down. If you see, I've got, because I use so much gear to begin with. This is, I still got a Stream Deck over here that sort of runs, it runs different switching different switching things, different software, all kinds of things going on. But it takes a lot of time to set it up, whereas StreamYard's nice and easy. It makes all that basic functionality super simple. Dan, did you think the audio editing on Filmora is useful? I have tried many times to make the audio sound better. It never worked well. Yeah, I think it is useful, but it's basic. It has only simple things like EQ. The two most important things I think to make a vocal sound better is, one, you want to record it with a good mic. Not a lot of noise. If you have a lot of noise you're trying to get rid of, you're going to be in trouble, because there's no good way to get rid of noise without cutting into the quality of your vocal sound. So one, you want to record well. Make sure you've got a solid mic source. And then the two things that are important are EQ, your ability to equalize, change the sonic tone of that mic source, and compression. Compression is the ability to limit down how loud the louds are and how quiet the quiet parts are. It kind of squishes them together, so it doesn't sound like sometimes you're super quiet and then super loud. It compresses it and doesn't let it peak too much or drop too low. So those two things together, but I tend to use, because they don't have compression in Filmora, and I've done videos on this, I use a digital audio workstation called a DAW, called Reaper. And I think a lot of you guys have seen me use Reaper. I have a few tutorials on it, live streams and stuff, showing how to install it, set it up, work with it. So I'm a huge fan of using something a little more advanced for my audio. And I did a whole breakdown of a really like deep 16 or 18 layer cinematic audio, where I really showed how to use Reaper and layer all those tracks. It's one of those things like anything else, the longer you do it, the better you get at it. So practice is one of the things that really helps, is just keep working on things. I think the basic stuff in Filmora is good, right? Because I can add, let me just pull it out for a minute. I can add all these different tracks and I can adjust them. I can reverse them. Like I can reverse the audio clip. If you click on it, you can, you have these different properties where you can do things like speed and duration. And if you click on reverse speed, that would play it backwards. Sometimes I do that. I do that with when I'm trying to create sound effects. I'll reverse it. You can change the speed. You can change the pitch. In the upper left, you'll find that you can do fade ins, fades out. You can do some ducking. You can have things duck, and you do a little denoise in EQ here. Here's all the different EQs. I like using the custom one, where you can change everything from the low frequencies up to the high frequencies. It's a pretty good spread. So yeah, the basic stuff is there. I think the basic stuff is there to get the job done, but I wouldn't rely on Filmora to like master your audio. Like it doesn't have the ability to really do high-end compression and limiting and things like that I like to do. I like putting a lot of like noise gates. I like to add noise gates because sometimes when I start compressing my signal, what'll happen is you start hearing a little more of the room noise when I'm not speaking. So I'll put a noise gate on, and what a noise gate does is when you're not speaking, it stops the mic signal. So what it does is so anytime there's a space, it's like they call it a gate because it literally closes. And then when you start speaking, it opens up again and it lets it play through. So noise gates, a good thing to have. A de-esser. Sometimes your S's will be very hissy. You know what I mean? That's like high. And a de-esser will allow you to limit just those super high ones. Like if you say an S and it sounds really hissy and abrasive, you can use a de-esser. So some of those things are really important. Let me see. Let me get back to some of these questions. Do you think audio editing is? Oh, that's what I just did. I'm trying to. Where's the one I think I missed the other one I was trying to pull up. You can also use Restream. Yeah, Restream's okay. I've seen a lot of glitches with Restream. One of the things I like about StreamYard too is it does the same thing. You can stream. I can stream to multiple places at once. I can stream to Facebook and to, LinkedIn and to YouTube or, wherever, all at the same time. Restream does a similar thing. I've just seen more glitches with Restream. I've seen people like it skips a lot and it pauses. So there's some issues with Restream, and usually with StreamYard, I haven't seen those. So that's why I'm a fan of StreamYard. Is there any way to do the Twixter effect in Filmora? Yes. Yes, and I kind of showed that. Though the Twixter, I think I did in Filmora. I showed how to do a Twix. Some people call it Twix. This is one of those ones where it crosses a line, because the actual Twixter effect and what some other people call it sometimes changes, and it's basically a speed ramping one. I think I called it the TikTok velocity effect, and I did it on my channel with Movavi. So if you go to my channel and you look up, Movavi, where is that one I had? Let me see if I can find that other one. Let me see. Here's this. If you go to my channel and you go to the videos, it's pretty recent. Turn off this stuff. Let me see. It is. Let me find it. Where are you? Oh, here it is. I think this is pretty much the effect you're looking for. It's this velocity effect.
Let me ask you a serious question here for a minute.
Let me kill this. But that's let me pull this out of the way. That's the one you're looking for, is this one all the way in the upper left. See the sort of girl dancing? This one right here. That's the one. That'll teach you the technique. Yes, it's in and I get these questions a lot. I'll do something in Movavi and people will go, well, how do you do it in Filmora? And I'm like, it's the technique. I taught the technique. Those softwares are similar. They have slightly different features, but I usually try to pick stuff that you can do in any software that has similar features. So it always makes me laugh a little bit. It's like I teach someone how to drive a car, and they go, I teach them how to drive a Chevy, and then they say, well, okay, now show me how to drive a Ford. Get in it and drive. The principles are all the same, right? If you know the technique over tool is really important to me. I want to make sure that people know that, learn the skills. And then when you go into your video editing software, you just go, okay, does this video editing software have masking, and does it have chroma key? And if it does, then I'll just apply those effects and do what Daniel taught me, even though it was with a different software. Hey, Daniel, from Cooper Music Page. How you doing, pal? That was some quick rendering. How much RAM are you working with? All right. People ask me that question a lot. My actual computer specs, I run 64 gigabytes of RAM. I honestly think that you can't edit effectively with less than 32. You can, but it gets tricky. It gets tricky on a PC anyway. Some of the Apple stuff is optimized differently. This is funny because Filmora and every one of these video editing softwares comes out and says, here's the minimum requirements. And if you're trying to edit on a computer that just meets the minimum system requirements for the software you're running, you're going to have a horrible experience, because you really want to exceed those minimum system requirements significantly. Because the minute you add a couple of tracks, you'll find that the software is crashing. And it's not just Filmora. This is true of Adobe, DaVinci, all of them. They'll give you these minimum system requirements just to physically install the software. And if you open it up, all the features will show. Doesn't mean the software will run well. So I run a Ryzen 9 processor. I've got one of the new Ryzen 6800 XT graphics cards that I had to jump through hoops to get. My pal Iggy was able to hook me up and let me know when one was available. Now you can't buy any of them. I had to pay more than it was actually worth, but not tremendously more. I still got it, I think, for about maybe just under $1,000. They were supposed to be more like $700 or $800. I paid a little extra. But now you can't get any of them right now because everybody's black market. They're all these scalpers are buying all these new NVIDIA and Ryzen graphics cards. Can't speak. When they come out, and the ones they aren't buying, all of the Bitcoin guys who are data mining are buying all the rest. It's impossible to get them. But yeah, so I run a really good graphics card. 64 gigabytes of RAM. I run only Samsung Evo 970 SSDs because I think they're really fast, so they're a solid state drive. So I run about a 2 terabit drive internally and then another 3 or 4 terabits externally. That's kind of it. One of the things people don't talk about a lot is you need a lot of physical disk space to run most of these softwares, because while they're running, they're making render files, they're making, proxy files, and all of the files take space. So I tell people, man, you really need like a good 100 plus gigabytes of drive storage available to edit effectively, because at any given time it's just getting eaten up. I see people, their drives are almost full and they try to edit and they just have all kinds of problems because the poor computer's trying to figure out where to stuff things, where can I'm having a tough time allocating file space to put these render files while we're working on these projects. Really important to make sure you hit all those marks. Let's see. Do you think, I'm just scrolling through some of these questions here. Daniel, how much time do you spend editing? It depends on the edit. Like this one I was just showing you, this was not long at all. Look how many tracks here for the hook, for the main hook. So this hook I put together really quickly. This probably took me 10 minutes to build this whole thing out, maybe 15. And then I went back in afterwards and I added the parts where, I taught people how to break it down. So I literally sit here and I'll open up a screen and screen capture with my mic on, and I'll go through and do the walkthrough, and then I edit that down. So probably an average video, depending on the video, from start to finish, including the filming, the coming up with the ideas, everything, and then making thumbnails and the whole thing, right? Titling, doing research for what I want to title it and how to make it look good. It's usually it's a solid full day of work, start to finish, 8 to 10 hours. The editing itself is probably 5 or 6, depending on the project. Some of them I get done in 2 hours, and some of them I get done in, it takes me a second day because the edit was pretty deep. So it really just depends how deep the edit goes, right? Some of them are just faster. Let me see. I'm at the minimum requirements, so it is possible I'm going Paul for pulling up my hair. Yeah, you're right, Tish. You're so right. You can do it, but the minute you add any effects or you start stacking a lot of tracks, it crashes. It crashes so fast. And I've been trying to, because graphic cards are so expensive, the graphics cards that were already out are now more in price. The card that I put in my son's gaming PC, I put a NVIDIA 2080 Ti Founders Edition, which at the time was about $1,400 and change for that graphics card. It was before the new ones came out. And I thought for sure when these new ones came out that were half the price and they had all the performance, that those other ones would go down in price. To try to buy the same graphics card, that NVIDIA 2080 Ti is now like $1,900. So everything is so expensive. And I usually tell people, go with PCs over a laptop, because I think you pay a lot of money. What happens is you pay a lot of money to get this, right? You're paying a lot of money for the compactness of a laptop, right? So you want to be able to just close it, walk away, and go do your thing. And you pay a lot of money for that feature. So even the basic stuff you see in a laptop costs you a lot more than it would in a PC. But that's actually reversed lately because of the craziness of what's going on out there. I'm actually recommending for the moment, because I don't think we'll see graphics cards anytime this year, not at any good prices. I've been telling people go with a laptop, because you can get a pretty good laptop. This one that is right here, this is one that my buddy Iggy recommended for me, and it's a Acer Nitro 5. Iggy, tell me if I'm saying that wrong. Yeah, Nitro 5. And it's got an i7 10th generation, I believe, CPU, and it's got a NVIDIA 2060 graphics card in it. And I think it's got 16 gigabytes of RAM. It was pretty decent. It didn't have a ton of storage, but I only tend to use it when I'm out on the road, and I just bring an external SSD drive. So yeah, I'm recommending nowadays, if you're looking to get a better computer for the moment, you might want to look into a laptop. And I post them up. That particular unit right now you can get for about $1,000, $1,100. And when I see deals, I'll actually post them on my community tab. If a good computer comes up, I'll post it and go, hey guys, go grab this now. It's actually a good price. They get a little tricky sometimes. There's a couple questions I'm going to try to catch up with here. I missed a few from the chat. Fortunately, I have a fantastic channel manager who sends them to me so I don't miss. Let me just quickly go over here. Lonnie H said, hey, Daniel, is there any way to create a fix audio custom preset? Audio custom preset. So there is in the EQ, you can do a custom preset where if you click on any of your audio and then go up to the customize, and whatever you dial in here, if you change this, you can, change this however you want it. So that becomes whatever tonality. That's a horrible EQ curve right there. Boy, I should get fired for that kind of stuff. But if you did that and said, okay, that's what that is, now I went to a different clip, I could pull that up, hit customize, and if I hit the drop-down menu here and go down to custom, it'll pull back up that same EQ curve that I was using in the custom settings. And that's one way that you can do a fixed custom setting. Is there a way to do it so like if you came back and then it would be available to you in another project already? I think you'd have to save that project as a starting point and leave something in there. I do that a lot too. What I'll do is I'll create a lot of times shared folders. This project doesn't have any, but under the media, I'll create some folders. If you look in the upper left up here where it says folders, you can create new folders here. But, up in here, you can, import media, you can create new folders, add new folders, and you can add shared media folders here and rename them so that if you do a shared one, anything you put in the shared folder, if you see right here, like in this video right here, if I click on shared, it has my call to action, right? That's where I say, hit the subscribe button and click the notification bell to be part of the conversation. And this is my custom end screen right here. That's what happens at the end of my videos. So I have that in my shared folder because no matter what video I'm making, I'm probably going to use my little quick CTA, call to action. And then at the end, I'll probably put the end screen in so that when I upload it to YouTube, I can insert another video as an end screen and put my subscribe clickable logo in YouTube. A lot of people ask me, how do you do that in Filmora? That's just an end screen element. All I do is I make that element in 16:9. I add it to the end of my video. And then when my video gets to that point, that shows up on screen. You can't add clickable links. People ask me this question a lot too, like, well, how do I get the link to click in my video? You can't do that in video editing software. You can't add a clickable embedded link that will show up on platforms. You have to do that. Well, there's another little exception in there, but that's the real answer is you can't. When it comes to YouTube, you can't put other clickable links in videos. You have to do all the clickable links in YouTube after the video's uploaded, okay? So you want to, but if you know that and you know the layout, then you can put an end screen that I know when I do this one, I'll be able to put my little circle clickable subscribe on the upper right and then put a new video at the end screen in YouTube. I've actually given away, if you go on my channel and look up free end screens, I've given away, there's a video on it. I show how do you put them in your videos, and then I gave away a bunch of free ones if you need a generic end screen for your project. Let me get through some of these questions too. Blaine Locklear, I missed a super chat. $5. Hi, Daniel. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for all you do to help us grow as creators, making YouTube a better place. Hey, Blaine, I appreciate that, pal. I'm sorry I missed it. Sometimes I'm talking so fast, I miss all the good stuff. But I appreciate the, there it is. There you are, my friend. I appreciate that. It really means a lot. The donations certainly help. My CPM is horrible. I will tell anyone out there, if you're looking to make a lot of money on YouTube, don't do tutorials about video editing, especially not Filmora, because it's funny. We were talking about this in one of my most recent, I think, members only streams or something, and my CPM is abysmal. There's just not a lot. I have a lot of audience members in countries like India, Indonesia, Pakistan, Nigeria. I have a lot in the United States too. But there's just a lot of countries where there's no AdSense market whatsoever. So, I love my community. I wasn't in it just to make money from AdSense. I appreciate when people give donations, and I try to get sponsors in here like StreamYard and Spreadshop, great companies who come in and sponsor some of the stuff we do here so I can continue to do the thing I like to do. So I really appreciate that, Blaine. Much appreciated. Let me catch up with some of these other ones. Stack the Pads Goaltending said, can you talk about your member program? I can talk about my member program. If you go to any one of my videos, let me see, and you were to pull up either my video or my homepage, you can go right to the homepage of my channel. If you look, you will see underneath my videos next to the subscribe button, you'll see a join button. You won't see the analytics, this is me, but you'll see a join button here. And there's also a join button that is on right on my main channel, right underneath the channel art. And what I did with my memberships program was, it's really to help people with things like video editing and channel growth. We probably talk more about channel growth strategies than anything else. I wanted to be able to create something where people could get to talk to me on a more personal level. I do offer one-on-one channel consultations. That's not what the group is. Sometimes I get people, because it's really affordable. It's $4.99 a month. And you get all this free content that helps people grow their channels. And we have a private Facebook group. So if you're a member, you get to come into the group, and I'm in there every day working with creators, helping them grow their channels and make better content. But it's not there. It's there. We do private live streams, and we pull up channels, and we start doing channel reviews to really help the creators. It's something, because I can't do it on YouTube. If I pull up someone's video on YouTube and they have a song playing that I don't have the rights to, but they bought the license to, I can get a channel strike, because whoever owns that music can put a claim. Even if the person who made the video said, I don't mind Daniel showing my channel and playing my videos, it's the person who actually owns the music. So if they licensed music, I don't have the license, I can get hit. But in the Facebook group, Facebook doesn't care about that in the private groups. So I can do live streams in there, and I can pull up people's channels. I can play their videos. We could talk about what they're doing with their editing and how to structure them better. So that's what the channel memberships is all about. If you're interested in it, just click the membership button, join. And make sure when you go to my memberships page right here, you'll see all of these drop downs, and it will show you, if you click the drop downs, it'll show you the links to get into the group. So all you got to do is, if you are a member and you want to join, send a request to the group, and make sure you put your channel URL, because if you don't put your channel URL, then I can't authorize you getting in. So because it has to check against the memberships list. So, but if you want to join, that's how to do it. Look at that. Dropping the big 50-pound super chat. Danielle from Tube Spanner. Every show a banger. Pure gold as always. Have a chicken shawarma on me. We were just talking about chicken shawarma. Who likes chicken shawarma? Thank you so much, Danielle. This is another one that's coming up, folks. Tube Spanner is a company that I'm now working with. We are in development, and it's going to have an official launch very soon. And I'm in love with the features that are going to be coming in this tool. It's crazy stuff you can do, like make thumbnails where take a picture of yourself, click on the picture, it removes the background. How many other tools are doing that right now? Really, really, really powerful tools at from a great company that puts them all together and makes it easy for the creators out there to really work faster and more efficiently and really understand YouTube growth in a different way. So keep an eye out. You'll see me talking about them soon. And thank you, Danielle, for the super chat. It's much appreciated. Let's see. Tish says the memberships is worth every penny, not just for Daniel, but all the other awesome creators group. Yeah, we have such a good group in there where other creators will come in. If you ask a question, we have creators in there that are all, we got silver play button artists in there that, that will go, what I think, and they'll give you their 2 cents. We have people who actually, like Nick Nimmin is in there, D Nimmin is in there, Roberto Blake is in there, Daryl Leaves has come through there. So we have Brian G. Johnson's in there. So there's all these different people that that will chime in if you have a specific question. The creators of TubeBuddy are in there. The creators of Morning Fame are in there. Some people that actually work for YouTube are in there. So it's really cool having that group in there that when you really have questions that you can't get answered and you really want to learn on another level. Look, a lot of times people will ask me questions like, how can I do this, Daniel? But they're trying to explain, and in the comments section of a video, it's really hard. In a Facebook group, they can drop a picture, they can, take an image, they can link to something really easily. They can, we can actually discuss and show people things. I love it. Let me see. One of this question: how to do freelance video editing? Well, that's a good question. Depends what country you're in. But learning to do freelance video editing starts with learning the skills. If you have the skills, you can build a business. It's as simple as that. So learn the skills first, because being a freelance video editor means someone's going to come to you and say, I need this, and this, and you have to know how to do it. You have to be able to go, no problem, I can do that. So that's a big part of it. And you want to build a portfolio to make sure that you can show people the kind of edits you do, so that when someone's looking for something, you can say, I have an entire portfolio put together of different content I've edited, because you're as good as your product. So start there, learn to be a great editor, and you can find your way through. Lee, hey man, I'm glad to have you with us in the battalion members. Make sure, like I said, go to my channel memberships tab, scroll down, look at the drop downs. All kinds of great content there that you can access now, free stuff you can get, and the Facebook group is killer. So make sure you go over there and let me know. Just, put your channel URL, Lee, just, so I can click it and make sure, because sometimes people on Facebook have a different name or their name isn't their channel name. So just welcome to the group, man. Glad to have you with us. Some quick questions here. Daniel, how do I gather more audience for my gaming channel without promoting? Good question. The real trick to this, like this video did really well for me, right? It's no question. The thing drove 1.3, 1.4 million views so far. The real trick is, and I covered this in the last live stream with Matt Geelan, think about how to do something different than everybody else is doing. If you're doing, it looks like, were you the hockey gamer? Is that what it was? I hope I got that right. Do something that people aren't doing. You always have to think about how can you create something that isn't being created? Because people think if you're a gamer, I'm just going to play the game and everybody will watch. It's a super saturated market. There's a lot of interest in it, but it's very hard to stand out because either you have to be the best player out there so that you start getting recognition based on your skills. But there's so many great players, it's really hard to stand out that way. But this was a great story. Daryl Eves told the story in Clubhouse. Well, he didn't tell the story. He was talking to someone who asked us a question. A very similar question, like how do I stand out? How do I get people to really start, noticing my content? And Daryl had a great tip where he said, what you should do is bring story into it, bring other parts. And this is exactly what Matt Geelan was talking about too. The different formats, challenges, reactions, narratives, things like that. Bring those elements into your content. Daryl Eves' tip was, he told this gamer, he said, you know what you should do? Get on a treadmill and have someone else you're playing against get on a treadmill while you're playing the game. And every time one of you guys dies or loses, you have to speed up the treadmill and raise the elevation. so you have two guys playing each other. And then as you start get killed, you have to run faster and faster and the treadmill gets harder and harder. That's a really smart way. I thought that was such a great suggestion. It's such a great way that gamers don't think that way. They think, I'm just going to play the game. Reality is what you want to do is be different, stand out, think of something that other people aren't doing. And that's how you'll really, really get people to start subscribing and following and paying attention to your content, because that's what it really is, connecting with the target audience. Why would people watch your content is the hardest thing for creators to get past. If you can figure out the why and do it effectively, then people will watch. People watch my content because I show them how to use video editing software that isn't really that tricky to do things they didn't think they could do and make better content so that their channels can grow. So my why is pretty simple. Stack the Pads Goaltending is now part of the battalion members. Great to have you. Like I said, my channel, go over to the memberships tab, scroll down, find that Facebook group in the drop-down menu, and you can just put, I'll remember Stack the Pads Goaltending. So when you apply, just say, hey, it's Stack the Pads Goaltending, so I know it's you, all right? Let me see. I'm trying to get through some of these questions here. How can I get views and subs when I have a music channel? I ask because I see musical instruments behind you. Yeah, one of the things I think is great. First of all, this is tricky. Music is tough because you're asking people, depends what kind of music channel you are. So if you're a music channel and you want to try to drive millions of views, which is tricky, you're really having people invested in you because you have to play great music. Now, if you're a cover artist, that can be tricky because some covers aren't monetizable and things like that. So you have to be really careful for copyright claims. But if you're covering songs and you have to make sure that it comes down to you, the audience is right there. Whenever you put up a video, YouTube is putting that video in front of people and it's seeing how they act. Do they click? Do they watch? How long do they watch? What do they do? What do they go on to watch next? So if you can make content that gets them to do those things, your channel will grow. Simple as that, no matter what niche you're in. For music channels, I've thought this. I think if you're a great musician and you think, I have great music, I'm fantastic, I just haven't been put in front of enough eyeballs, here's a great idea. Go to the most important part of your song, do a 30-second snippet of the best part of your song, and make it into a short. Go do a music video, right? And do 10 or 15 seconds even, and do a shorts, because you can do shorts on YouTube now. Or even get some really good dancers to dance to your song or whatever it is. And, if it's death metal, that might be a little tricky. But, if you've got something that can make that music video visually interesting, remember on YouTube, we're a video based platform. So it has to be visually interesting. Music is audio based. So you want to try to make sure that you're putting something visually that would make them want to follow along, right? So add a great visual, do some shorts. And in the short, you can say right at the end, if you want to listen to the whole song, click here and then link over to the long form song. So that in that short down in the description, you can link back to the longer form. So if you give them just that 10 or 15 seconds of the best part of the song and it looks great, you got a short 10 or 15 second snippet of a really cool looking video and a really awesome part of an awesome song, or you playing, if you're a musician and you're playing really great and it's like, wow, that person's playing great, that looks fantastic. Give them a little sample. Use shorts as a sampler and get them to click over that way. It's a good way to gain viewers. And let's see, I'm just trying to catch up with some of these. Question, do you start with a default project that includes your commonly used resources or pull them each time? So I do. I start, that was what Rob in my shared folder, I think I showed that. So in a default project, even if it has nothing in it, Rob, if I go up here, if I go down to shared, anything I want to have that I'm going to use more than once, like that's my CTA right there.
Hit the subscribe button and click the notification bell to be part of the conversation.
Right, so that goes in every video, and that's my end screen. So those are the things that I do. I have the default stuff that's in the shared. Now, there's sometimes I want certain things saved. The one thing you can't, like sometimes I want certain project settings saved, Rob, where I go, I want this all set up for 4K. I don't want to have to go through and click the settings to have it match. I want it all set for 4K, all the export settings. You can create a default project that has basically nothing in it. And I do that sometimes, and I'll label it like my base project, right? And below there's the basics, and I'll have the basic project. And what I'll do is I'll save that and I'll start there. So it'll have a few things in it. So that is one way to do that, Rob. Heidi, Daniel, I'm not a morning person, but I'll get out of bed to watch your morning stream. Heidi, thank you for the super chat. I really appreciate it. And thanks for all the help that you provide, not only here in live streams, but in the group as well. Heidi is in our group and always has great advice that adds to the conversation. Another example of fantastic people in a group that really help make that memberships program so much better. One of the things I learned early on was if you can be trying to be a YouTuber, a content creator, on your own is really, it's hard. It's so much better to have a community around you and people you can talk to, bounce ideas off of, get reference points. So having a group, that's one of the reasons I really wanted to have the group. So people felt like they had a home and they had a place to go to so that they could say, I need a place where I can just check in and go, does this thumbnail look good? Is this a good title? I'm trying to get views, but this one's tanking. Can anyone explain to me what I might have screwed up here? And just have people to bounce ideas off of. Tick Boy, welcome to the channel membership. It's good to have you, pal. Like I said, go to the memberships tab, scroll down. You'll see all the things available for you. You'll see the drop down for the Facebook group. There's a link right there. Click that link and put your channel URL when you apply to be entered into the group so I know who you are, okay? That's how I check. But great to have you, pal. But yeah, the group is great. We can have those conversations and support each other. I don't mean support each other like sub for sub. It's none of that, because that's not how you grow on YouTube. It's being able to go, I'm trying to get more views and I'm struggling. Can anyone give me an idea what I blew? Let me show you this, this one video link. Can anyone tell me what looks wrong here, or, things like that? And we do, like I said, live streams for just channel members where we'll pull up the channels and we'll start digging into it's just members only, so they can ask questions and I can pull up their channels and we can get into it and really talk about all kinds of things, everything from growing your channel to how to put together media kits and reach out to sponsors and get brand deals. It's pretty heavy stuff. So one of my favorite places to hang out is my own group, because it's made up of the people who are in it and there's great people in it. Heidi being one of them and Doug being another. Dare I say the best members group on Facebook. I appreciate that, Doug. Like I said, you and I both know this. So the group is made up of, the kind of people in there and the kind of conversations that go on. And we've been very fortunate. I am pretty strict in there sometimes about dropping the hammer, but I really try to keep it really the conversations that are important and on point. And it's not a spamming group. People aren't in there like, watch my channel, I'll throw you right out. But people who are in there to really be part of the conversation and learn how to grow, we watch people hit 10,000 subscribers in that group almost on a weekly basis. It's constant how quickly people start growing when they really dial in and get focused on what's working for their channel and their target audience. We see people just crush it. We see them crush it. Let's see. DJ Gamer Sam says, will I get a copyright claim if I cover a song with a piano? It depends. This is super tricky. That's a great question, especially for editing, right? You want to know if you're going to spend all that time doing a cover song and then if you're going to get a claim. YouTube, if you're doing a cover song, you should expect that there will be some kind of claim. And usually what it was is YouTube, some artists will share the profit with you. Like they'll do like, oh, whatever money you make on YouTube, we'll split with you. They do like a split. And YouTube used to have a feature that you could actually look and figure out the licensing for different songs. It didn't have all of them, but it had deals with a lot of different artists, and you could check and go, nope, if I put that up, they're gonna force me to monetize it, and they take all the money. That's basically a claim. Or you could get a strike too. Someone could have you take it down and issue a strike. So it's really tricky to do cover songs, but there are some resources out there to find which publishing houses and licensing houses allow people to use their content. But yeah, you got to do a lot of research. I wish YouTube had not gotten rid of that tool. That's such a pain in the butt. But yeah, plan on, if you don't own the song, plan on someone owns it. You can get in trouble. So be really careful with covers. Fair use is a tricky thing. It's a legal defense, it's not a YouTube policy. Good morning, Epic Desk. Good to see you. Daniel, can you make more Zach King tricks videos? Like I said, I have 4 already. So there's 4 on my channel if you've seen them all. I think I'm going to do more of those. There's a few cool ones. He does this thing, I'll give it away because I haven't been able to pull it off yet, where he takes a watermelon, he cuts it in half and puts it down onto a mirror. Of course, because it's sitting on a mirror, it looks like a whole watermelon because the half is reflecting into the mirror. And then he reaches down and grabs it, and he pulls out a whole watermelon, takes another one, cuts it in half, and he keeps doing that. And it's a great idea. I've tried it several times, and I've done a spin on it. It's a different take on it, and I haven't been able to nail it yet. But if I can get it done, I'm going to do it. It's just a really cool fruit trick that I was like, man, that looks so good, but it's very tricky, very tricky, very tricky. It's tricky. I've got live music stream with the mindset. This won't be much. Yeah, it's super tricky. Like Cooper can probably tell you more than anyone. It's very tough to tell. They don't have a good resource for everyone to know which music is allowed to be covered, which one shares profit, which ones aren't allowed to be covered. Such a pain in the butt. Just such a pain in the butt sometimes. I wish they would bring that feature back. Your wife is the talent. You do most of the edits and SEO. You're not the only guy out there like that, Rob. There's plenty of creators that I work with where like the people I talk to, they're like, oh no, like my husband or wife is the person on camera. I'm the one behind the scenes that tries to figure out how to edit it all and then grow the channel. That's a very common thing. It's cool. I wish, this is the weirdest thing. Here's the thing about trying to get 1 million views and grow a channel and make videos that people will watch. When you come to YouTube, and people don't talk about this enough, is you have to be a video editor. You have to be a videographer. You have to know how to film stuff. You have to be a graphic artist because you have to make channel art and thumbnails. You have to be an SEO, maybe not expert, but fairly good at SEO to understand how to do research. You have to be a on-screen talent a lot of times. So you now have to learn how to present yourself and have charisma so people want to listen. You have to be a tech head because you now have to buy all this gear that you got to figure out how to put it all together and get it to work and make sure everything works the way you want it to. It is, you have to be a business person on top of it because running a YouTube channel is a business. So I try so hard to help other creators because I think people do not give us credit for how many skills we have to master to do this well. And I mean, there's some channels out there that have the money to hire some people out to do that, but trying to make videos that are going to drive 1 million plus views, that's a hard enough feat on its own. But thinking about how to build a channel and get it out there, never mind just making a good video edit, but then getting it onto YouTube and figuring out how to connect with a target audience, that's a lot of work. It is a ton of work, right? Luis said the same thing. It's hard work for sure. And if it's not your full-time job, then, that means you're like working and then you're coming home and you're trying to film and edit. And how many of you, give me a hashtag yes in the chat here, or hashtag no, or hashtag yes if you agree, hashtag no if you haven't. How many of you have stayed up way too late on a school night, work night, a night where you should be in bed, just trying to get like an edit done? I do this all the time. Like time management is like, oh, it's just the war. There you go. Amir, yes. Paula's Picks, yes. Jamaican, everybody. Iggy, same thing. Iggy, yes. It's like, I don't know. I think the rite of passage as a YouTuber is you're going to be up some stupid hour when you should be in bed, and you're just editing and working and trying to get something done because you know you got to publish it. It's hard. It's a lot of work. And I credit every one of you out there right now for putting in that kind of work. Yes, absolutely. It is just so much work. Yes. WV Fine Woodworking. Don, right? It's how we all do it, right? It's one of the things I try to teach with editing is to get people to learn to move a little quicker. It certainly helps if you have a nicer computer. One of the things I tell people, it's worth investing in a decent computer. Not just to say you have a fancy computer, but the renders are faster, the exports are faster, the editing is fast, everything's faster. So if you can spend a little money, I believe in this. If you're thinking about purchasing anything as a YouTuber, figure out what you can buy that will buy back your time. I'm a huge proponent of spending money to buy back your time. If you buy something and it saves you a lot of time, then it's a worthwhile investment. It is all about passion. I totally hear you. This is one of those things that you want to see. You want to see that, you've got something that if you're spending a lot of time waiting, like if you're waiting forever for your stuff to upload to YouTube, then it's one of those things like, yeah, call your internet provider and see if you can get faster internet because it's worth it. If you're a live streamer and you stream a lot, which I am, I paid for better internet so I have a better signal and hopefully don't crash as much. Because I'm using the internet a lot to run a lot of things. Multiple screens, I'm running live at any given moment, so I need a good connection. So those things are worthwhile investments for me. And as a creator out there, think about the same thing. If your audio sounds kind of crappy, think about how you can get a slightly better microphone purchase so that your audio sounds better. I've never really thought about using really expensive software. I've had some, but it's like, I still like Filmora, Movavi. That gets the job done. But I spend way too much money on cameras and computers and live streaming gear and microphones, all of that stuff, because it saves me time. It makes things faster. I saw this video 18 times. Well, I hope you liked it. I hope you liked the video 18 times. Art supplies first, computer soon after. Absolutely, Tish. Yeah, you need the art supplies to do the art that you do on your channel. But yeah, computer, it's so helpful. To have the gear. Like my setup is just stupid. I literally have, you can't see them, but this right in front of me, I have two cameras. One that is on a 9x16, so you're getting full screen. And then the same camera with the same lens above it turned up so that when I film and if I'm doing anything for like TikTok or doing anything for Instagram or if I'm doing anything for shorts on YouTube that requires a vertical video, 9x16, I can do them both at the same time and I'm not constantly grabbing my camera and flipping it, and then having to say the whole thing again. So just silly things like that, like anywhere where you can spend money to save time. I totally think that as creators out there, put your focus there. It's not about having the fanciest gear in the world. It's finding the stuff that saves you time. If you can save time, that's totally worth it. What do we got going on? You're waiting for Elon and Starlink. I live in the country. Oh, and it's Starlink. For the better internet from Elon Musk. Oh yeah, it's tricky. Some countries you can't get great internet. And it's like, oh man, I wish I could get better internet. I'd be able to do more work if I could get better internet. We had a comment here from Cool Breath. Said, is there also an alternative of Filmora? Yeah, I use Movavi. I think Movavi is a great software too. Let me see. Can I pull it up here? I get so many screens going. Movavi, I've got plenty of videos on it on my channel. They were the very first sponsor ever on my channel. I think they're fantastic, but they have a great software. Let me see if I can pull this up and I'll show you on the screen. It's a very similar thing. Let me move it over here. And I will pull this up so you can see it. Let me share screen. Let me pull them, moving around like a knucklehead today. Let me go full screen. So this is Movavi. It's a very similar thing to Filmora in layout. It's got all your import stuff in the upper left. It's got your preview window on the upper right and your timeline down below. Very simple layout. I've done a video called 10 Reasons You Should Consider Using Movavi, and I listed all the things that Movavi either does differently or better than things like Filmora. There's some simple things like, I can't remember where everything is. You can detach, you have to have a track in here. You can detach your video screen. You can take this whole video screen and move it to another monitor. Filmora kind of does it, but it's super tricky to do. But that's a great alternative. And the price point is, I think, a little cheaper. If you want something better performing and cheaper than Filmora, DaVinci Resolve. The free version of DaVinci Resolve is excellent. It's got way more features than Filmora does. It doesn't give you all the features. You have to have the pro version. They call it the studio version for that. But the free version is amazing. I mean, it's got tons of features. And it's absolutely free. It also has more system requirements than Filmora, so you'd need to make sure you had a really strong computer to run it, or you'll run into the same issues with it lagging and giving you issues, and you'll hate yourself. But those are the options I push towards. I like Filmora. I like Movavi. If you like simple, fast type editing software, if you're looking for cheap, stuff that's affordable or free, those two are great. And DaVinci, if you got a really good system, go with DaVinci. They've got a fantastic software. And my friend Jay Lippman covers them a lot, so you should definitely check out his channel. Question from, let me see. I got the gamers question. I got one from Sci-Fine's Thames Mudlark. Says, can you play some acts for us one day for us? Yeah, one of these days maybe. I've done it before. I don't play very often. I play at home. I've been playing piano again. I haven't done that in years. But I write all the music that I play under my videos. So when you hear songs like this... That's me. That's me. So I like writing the music that goes under my content, because that way it has music that no one else has ever heard. And I own the music. So like sometimes if I want to make a video that's not going to be on YouTube, and let's say I use a song from the YouTube audio library, that would mean, I can't use that song outside of YouTube. It has to be hosted on YouTube. If I wanted to make something that I wanted to put on a website or something that was going to not be, just embedded from YouTube and shared, but actually, or for a customer or client, I have my own music stuff that's under it that's uniquely mine. And also no one else can use, because I can copyright strike them if they do. So that's one of those things that I try to consider about, standing out and being different. If I'm using music that everyone else is already using, I like to create my own music. So one of these days, maybe I'll pull an axe down and play again. We'll see what happens. It's one of those things that, I'm not a music channel, right? I'm not here to teach people how to play. People are here to learn how to edit. So I really try to stay true to that. These are all my passions behind me, because that just makes me who I am. But I'm really here to teach people about making better content and growing their YouTube channel. So that's really where I try to put all of my focus instead of playing guitars and things. Mike, what's going on, pal? Mr. Hybrid Steel in the house. Good to see you, my friend. I hope you're doing well over there. Let me see this. How do you grow an art channel? Good question. Art channel. Well, we have an artist in here, Tish from the Artist Haven, who will tell you that Jay Lippman is just amazeballs. Growing an art channel is tricky. Really, you have to think about, no matter what your channel is, think about the viewer. Okay, like when we were talking about this 1-point-something million viewed video on my channel, I spent years making Filmora tutorials and getting better at them and learning how to be a better coach or teacher or instructor, so that when I show somebody something now, I'm much better at it than I was a year or two ago. I also edit better now. I've learned to be smoother in the things I do. I've also learned, because I've made so many videos and talked to so many people like you in the community, that I've really learned the things that you guys find important and the things you guys struggle with. So I know where to find holes. So when you're making content, think about who you're trying to reach. I talk about YouTube as it's a series of conversations, right? That's all it is. Don't let it get you so confused. Like, I don't understand the AI and the algorithms and really YouTube's a series of conversations. You need to decide what conversation you're going to have. Now, if you're an art channel and you want to have a conversation, art can mean a lot of things. Are you talking art history? Are you teaching people how to paint? Are you teaching people how to sketch things? Are you teaching people how to find the supplies they need to make the art they want to make? Are you showing them new techniques that they haven't seen before? I think anything that's unique and stands out, right, that in a different way. All the great art or artists or art videos I've seen is usually some really cool technique that's mesmerizing, or watching someone at a super high skill level. I've seen people, like when guys do paintings, they come out and in like 4 minutes, they paint something and I go, what is it? Then they flip it over and it's like an exact, painting of a portrait of someone famous. And they did it all upside down. So unique twists, things that make it interesting for the viewer to watch. Understand why. Learn your why. Why would someone watch your channel? It can't be enough to just say, this is the kind of channel I am. I'm an art channel. Okay, why would someone watch your channel? Who's the target audience? Are they people who are already artists? Are people who want to learn how to be artists? Are you teaching them a technique? So you have to figure out who it is you're trying to reach. And then once you figure that out, to ask yourself, why would someone watch my channel? And you have to figure that out specifically, because you can't just be like, because I'm entertaining. That doesn't cut it. You really have to have a true value proposition so that someone who doesn't know you says, I saw this video fly by in the scroll and I had to stop and click it because, and it should be there. It should be like, oh, they were showing me this really cool technique that I've been dying to learn with acrylic paint. Then there's a reason. Then you have a why, because you're showing them something. You're teaching them something. You're teaching them how to do something more faster, how to do it cheaper, how to do it better. Any of those things, those are important things. Being entertaining is cool. Being compelling is cool. Having story along the way is cool. But it always has to be about the viewer. Too many creators make it about themselves. They talk about themselves too much, and they don't make it about the thing that the viewer really wants to learn. My channel, I really try to make it all about the viewer. I try to make it about helping people make better content, teaching people how to do things they don't know how to do, or things they haven't thought of. And then grow their YouTube channels, get those videos made, get them onto YouTube, and then figure out how to actually connect and grow your channel. So that's always been my take, is my little difference between the way I do tutorials and other people do is I always try to do different things that I didn't think people are covering. I try to show them things I didn't think they could do. I do them very quickly. My videos are very short. And then I try to show people, once you've made the video, how to get them onto YouTube and how to upload them and actually start growing your channel. So it's not just making videos. Anyone can make a video. Can you grow a YouTube channel with those videos? A little trickier. So think about that. Think about who you're trying to reach. Let me see. Our channels are all about the viewer. Yeah, I started building my community first by doing live streams, but now I'm editing videos along with the live streams. A lot of time and effort, but worth it. Yeah, Tisha's really spent a bunch of time growing. She has a real community-based kind of thing that she does, and it's fantastic. It's really for artists and about artists, and it's great. But we've had long talks, Tish and I, where you really have to realize the stuff you're doing right in front of you, even though you're the one making the art, it has to be for the viewer. It has to be, why would they watch you do it? What are you teaching them? What are they learning? How quickly do they understand that's something that they're learning? Super important. Prairie Life, welcome to the Batal memberships. Glad to have you on board. Make sure you go to the memberships tab and scroll down and see all the stuff that's available to you, including the Facebook group, which you definitely need to join. So once you do that, click on that link. Even if you don't use Facebook, I promise you this group alone is worth it. Sign up for Facebook just for this group and ignore the rest of it. It's a great group, super helpful. And just make sure when you do apply to get into the group that you put your channel URL, okay? So that I'll be able to let you in that way. All right. Repetitive strain injury, RSI. Thank you so much, my friend, for the $5 super chat. I appreciate that. Very kind of you. Another channel member right there. We have a lot of members in here. Everybody you see with the green name next, their name is in green, like Success is the Goal, Rob Cooper, Heidi from Costume Co. Anyone who has a name in green, Tish, of course doesn't show up green here. My pal Iggy from This Bites for You. These are all channel members. That's what that green means, is they become channel members. We have a great group in there. Iggy says, it's so hard for me to make short videos. I try to provide as much information possible, and I don't want to shortcut it. Yeah, it's tricky. We all have our own pacing, Iggy. One of the things when we talk about making these videos that can drive millions of views is you're going to learn. That's why we have all these great analytics that show us audience retention and all those things. We all have our own voice. Like anyone can, if anyone came here and said, oh, I know, I'll make a Zach King video and I'll get millions of views, you might, but it's more than that. You need to learn how to bring your voice to the conversation, because like I can, anyone can walk in and tell a joke and it's like, oh, okay, whatever. But a comedian who's trained, who's really good, can make an offhanded remark and crack all of us up, right? So it's learning your voice and your style and how you build things, not just how you edit, but how you physically put things together for content, to create structure, pace, all of those things. Structure and pace is a lot of it, providing the value. And once you get really good at it, the more, and I know Iggy would agree, the more videos you make, the better we get at it. And then things happen. Like Iggy, I know right now, has spent a bunch of money, like upping his level, getting a better camera. He's been doing it for a while, and the channel's done well. His channel's doing really well. He's just, I think he just hit 16,000 subscribers. So he's starting to do well. There's some AdSense money. He's reinvesting back into better gear, better lighting, building out his set. Looks really good. So it's just that kind of stuff. Think about all those things you can do as a creator. It takes time. I wouldn't have been able to get 1 million views on this video if I'd put it out as the second video on my channel. Wouldn't have happened. It was all about having to spend years making videos and really getting better at understanding my target audience and what they responded to. And then when I saw really good opportunities, I went at it whole hog, timing, everything. I really thought it was the right time to make a Zach King video. And I did, and it took off, and it randomly takes off. It got pushed out so much it ran out of people to serve it to. There's no one left, and it died down. And then it starts taking off. Like this past week, it was doing about 2,000 views a day, and it just shot up to about 8,000 views a day because new people come to the platform who haven't seen it. YouTube takes a break. It's like, yeah, no one's really clicking. But then they'll keep pushing it out, and then if they see that people are clicking a little faster, they'll push a little harder. So it's good to have content that is strong, that connects with your target audience. It's a great way to move your channel forward, because every time I see one of my stronger videos takes off, my whole channel comes up with it, because then YouTube starts recommending other pieces of content from my channel because that video is doing well again. So understanding those people you're trying to reach, making those videos nice and tight, good structure, keep them nice and right to the point, really important. Let me see this. What's the reason your videos get less views? What's the catch? There's no catch. It's what you really have to understand here. Cinematic shot. Is there an echo in here? What you have to understand is YouTube is putting your videos out in front of people every single day. That's what impressions are. If you go into your analytics, you'll see impressions. And that's YouTube putting your content in front of people in all kinds of places. Could be search, could be browse, could be suggested. And people think that views are guaranteed. They aren't. They put it in front of people. If the people click and they go on to watch, and they watch for a good amount of time, and then maybe they go on to watch more content, YouTube's going to recommend that video more. So if they keep pushing it out and people click for a couple of months and then they stop clicking quite as much, then YouTube recommends it less. So you're always going to see videos. Let me see if I can show you. This might be worthy of just showing you. Let me show you the data on that 1.4 million viewed video. Is that interesting? You guys want to see that? You'll see a better idea of what's actually happening. Zach King, and you can see the kind of swings that you'll get. Let me find it really quickly. Let me go to the analytics of this one, and I am more than happy to share this. Lifetime analytics. Okay. Let me share this screen. Okay. So right here, you can see this video. And what I tell you about you're never going to get rich, you'd think a video that has driven 1.4 million views would have made a lot of money. I haven't even made $1,400 on it. So it's just not, and it's done well. It's driven almost 25,000 subscribers to my channel. That's what you're seeing. Let me get rid of the overlay so I can use my tools here. Hold on one second. Let me get that out of there. So, and let me pump this up a little bit bigger. There we go. And I'll grab a pen. So you can see here is that million viewed video. Okay. It gained almost 25,000 subscribers. That's fantastic. That's a strong performing video. That one video alone is responsible for almost 25,000 subscribers out of my channel that has about 190 something thousand. It's driven almost 1.4 million views, hasn't driven a lot of money. The reason it hasn't driven a lot of money is because the look at the RPM, $1. That means for every 1,000 views, I can expect to get about $1. The CPM alone is under $4. It's just not a great, like I said, I get served to a lot of areas that don't have high CPM. So not a lot of money to be made there, but it's done really well. The reach has been pretty good. This is one of those things where I talk a lot. People get wrapped up in click-through rates. It's averaged out to be a 2.9 click-through rate. That being said, it's been a 2.9. It wasn't when it came out. When it came out, it was almost 9%. It's hung, maybe in the 4 to 5% for, a long time. But then as it got served out, fewer people were clicking because they ran out of people to serve it to. That doesn't mean I need a better thumbnail. It doesn't mean I did anything wrong. Trust me, if a video is getting over 1 million views, I'm not changing the thumbnail. It's doing something right. It's still getting 92% of its views, 92.5. Wow, that was a scribble. 92.5% of its views came from YouTube recommending it. That's perfect. YouTube has learned that a video that it can drive 1.4 million views, 2.9% is pretty goddamn good. Pretty good click-through rate. I shouldn't say a gosh darn good click-through rate. So these are the things that YouTube learns. And the most amount of traffic, as I've said this before, search is very low. It's only 8.4%. The vast majority of my views on this come from YouTube recommending my content in browse and suggested. Super, super important to understand that about YouTube. If you make a great video that people want to click, YouTube will recommend that video. Do they click? Do they watch? How long do they watch? And what do they go on to watch next? If I look at the overview, let me see if I can look at the retention report on this. Traffic source types, hold on one second. It's okay. Watch time from subscribers, mostly not subscribed, which is great. It's reaching a lot of people who haven't seen my content before. That's fantastic. That's what I want. But if you look at this, the top country watching this video is India. United States is way down 4th. So these countries here have India, Philippines, and Indonesia. Love you guys from those countries. But the CPM is really low. There's not a lot of advertising money there. So I don't make much money there. I make much more money from United States, United Kingdom. So, that's one of those things. But if you look at the thing I want to show you is look at the views on this. There were days where this thing was driving 15,000 views, 16,000 views a day. And then it would go down. And then it would pop back up out of the blue. Would go, oh, now it's up to 7,000 or 8,000. Then it would go down to a couple, 3,000 views a day. Then boom, it would pop back up to 9,000, right? And it's just YouTube, recommending it. And when people don't click as much and they're skipping it, they stop recommending it. But they'll leave it down there and they keep pushing it out. If they notice it starts doing well again, this was driving right up about a couple thousand views a day. And then just recently it started to pop again. And now it's up to, over 7,000 views. It's driven 13,143 views. I am a scribbler today in the last 48 hours. So it's sitting there driving views. That's probably just under 7,000 views a day. That's a good thing. That's what we like to see. We like to see videos that get out there and connect and do what they're supposed to do. People are enjoying them. You learn from these other videos that you make and you put out there. That was a really strong video. How do they put that video together? How do they edit it? What do they say in it? What was the value? What was I talking about? And when you can figure out how to make content like that consistently, that really connects, you'll find that it's easier for YouTube to recommend content on your channel. That was one of the other things is my channel's very focused. If you find one piece of content you like, what was that buzzing? Is that coming through my speaker? Oh, sorry, if there's something buzzing. Sometimes I get noises. I didn't mean to. Sometimes what you'll find is if you, that just distracted me. I don't know if that came through the speaker or not. Something was buzzing in there. I didn't know what it was. If you make content on your channel that's consistent, what you'll find is that whenever YouTube goes back to your well, it'll see is there more content I can serve to this viewer that they would enjoy watching. And if I have more stuff that's similar, it's really easy for YouTube to recommend more of my content to those viewers that are equal, have the same kind of value, teaching people the similar things. Epic Desk, thank you so much for the super chat. Thanks for doing these live streams, brother. Helpful, entertaining. Also, great guitar work. Stop hogging up all the talent. I appreciate the kind words and the super chat. It means a lot, pal. Thank you very much. Yeah, so these kind of things that we're really talking about, million viewed videos, how to structure them, it all works together. The reason I wanted to talk about showing you some data and showing you how I edited the video and answer some questions, all of these things work together, guys. When you're out there and you're thinking about, I'm trying to be a successful content creator on YouTube, you really got to think about who your target audience is, why they would watch your channel. Then you have to think about how you're going to make these videos and edit them in a way that's really compelling and people would want to watch, that's a little different and unique than everybody else. Don't just try to be what you've seen done already. Try to be something a little different. Try to stand out. And even if it's just how you look, the kind of things you wear, that's why I like Spreadshop, right? You can get the gear I need. Think about a lot of those things when you're approaching the platform. Views are not guaranteed, as you saw from just this last data spread. You can see these views going up and down and shifting from 2,000. Sometimes people think, if my video starts driving views, it's just going to keep going up. And it's like, that's not how it really works. They have cycles, things come, things go. I've had videos that did really well and then stopped driving views altogether. It was a couple thousand views a day, and then I can't get another, now they'll drive 2 views a day. And no matter what I do, changing the thumbnail, it's just that videos have a shelf life on YouTube, and there can be different reasons for that, right? Maybe one of the videos I made, I was using Filmora 8. People look at it and go, it's Filmora 8. No one even uses that anymore. So the video doesn't have any relevance the way it did 2 years ago. So things like that are important, really understanding the relevance. The 2 things that are going to grow your channel when you make content for YouTube is being relevant. So it's relevancy and performance. So not only do you have to make content that people would want to watch, it actually has to perform. People have to click it. People have to watch it. People have to go on to watch more stuff. And then YouTube sees that traffic data and they recommend it more. And they're constantly adjusting based on things like, what other content there is on your channel, how often you publish, the interest of the people out there might be changing. My views went way up during the summer of 2020 because everybody was locked down from COVID. And now they've gone down a bit. And you can see it. You can see that in my data too, by the way. If you look, see this surge here, November, it was a spike right here in the summer when everyone was locked down. Then we got back into the winter again and COVID picked up and, more people were at home watching content on YouTube, and there's more people to recommend this video to. So, everybody started getting back out more recently. Fewer people on the platform I literally ran out of people to serve that video to. The YouTube is serving it out and people were choosing not to click. So just one of those things you want to consider when you're building your channel. Okay. Did you hear the hum? Was there cicadas? Is that what that was? I have no idea what that was. I could barely hear it. I didn't know it was, and then I looked and I saw the meters moving. Sorry. Sometimes I'm a lost cause up here. Any advantage of getting Filmora Pro version? Yeah, Filmora Pro, I have that too, is a completely different software. If you like Filmora because it's easy to use and everything's push button and you just drag and drop transitions and effects, don't go to Pro. Pro is a completely different software, and it was built for the people who kept saying, I don't like Filmora. I want something that's more intense. I want something more like HitFilm. I want something more like DaVinci. And they were never going to change Filmora itself into that. So they decided to make a completely different software. And I think somewhat mistakenly called it Filmora Pro because people think I guess this is non-pro, the regular Filmora. And then the other one is Pro, that's the upgrade. And it's not an upgrade. It's a totally different software that just happens to be made from the good people at Filmora. So that's, so if you're like, I don't want all the ease of use, I want a ton of features and a steeper learning curve, and I have to use a higher performing computer to run it, then Filmora Pro is great. I think it's about $150 street price, $149 somewhere in there. And it just has a lot more functionality, even like the motion tracking, and Filmora Pro is a more in-depth type of thing, but it's not fast and easy. It's not that nice, fast, easy, just click, drag, move quickly that Filmora 10 is. So, they both have a free version. I would tell you, download Filmora Pro, Lee, and give it a whirl. Just test it out. And if you love it, then you can go get the license. Unfortunately, it requires a separate license than Filmora 10 does. But if you love it, you can test it out. And I say that with everything. Download anything and try it. And if you love it and it makes sense, then go with it. But I would probably push you towards, and Filmora would yell at me for this, push you towards DaVinci first because it's got more features than Filmora Pro, or at least as many, and it is completely free for the free version. You unlock more features when you do the studio version, which is like $300. So if you wanted all the features of Filmora Pro, I think it only costs about $150. So there's a price point thing there. But that's really the long and short of it. They're just two different softwares, one designed for ease of use and one designed for like, okay, I want super steep functionality. What's happening, Danny Batal? I like you a lot, dig your content. Something about your personality draws me in. Also, I love Roberto Blake too. Thank you for the kind words, Yates. I appreciate that. Very nice of you. And Roberto's great. He's been on the channel a few times. I've been on his. I love him. Here we go, off the wall questions. What metal band do you play with, sir? I don't. I used to play with several different bands over the years, but my playing days are over. I used to tour and do all that things, but nowadays I just only write the music that I use in my content. And I was never really a metalhead. I'm a classic rock guy. That's always where I've lived. So pretty funny. I think I look more metal than I am. Daniel should do a road trip so we can buy in beers, right? That's what I'm saying. I've got my COVID shots. Let's take this thing on the road. Let's get out there. I tend to go to like conventions. The last year we didn't because everything was closed down, but I tend to go to like VidCon, VidSummit, social media marketing world. And that's a lot of times I'll hang out with creators out there. That's where I get to hang out with a lot of the people that I know, or I don't know. I get to meet a lot of people a lot of times because I used to work for, it looks like I'm working for them again, maybe, TubeBuddy. And I used to work right at their booth. I'd sit at their booth and do channel reviews and help do consultations. So yeah, if you want to catch up and have a beer, find me at like VidSummit, VidCon, some of those. You know what I mean? Hi, sir. Love you from India. Love back at you, pal. I appreciate the love. How can I find videos? How can I get my videos? Wow, let me read this slow, Flip Bro. How can I get my vids have a lot of views? Okay, how can you get them to have a lot of views? That's exactly what we're talking about, Flip. There's no magic button. The trick is get out there and start making content that serves an audience. Make content not for yourself. I mean, you have to obviously enjoy and have a passion for what you're doing. But if you make videos about you and your family on vacation, or you playing a video game, or you doing whatever, there's no reason for anyone to watch. It's all about you, right? You're just talking about you. When you make content that serves the needs of the viewer, that gives them something that they want, something they're looking for, a value that they're trying to find when they come to YouTube, something that serves their interests, that's when you'll connect. And now, on top of that, you got to make great videos. You got to learn how to edit. You got to learn how to, if you're on camera, you have to learn how to be really great on camera, or edit well enough to make it sound like you're really good on camera, which is what I do a lot of times. Sometimes I'm just a mumble mouth, but I can edit, you'll hear me take a line 7 times until I get it right. And then I'm like, use that take. So that's really the trick, is make content for the viewers, and YouTube will push it out. And if they click and they choose to watch, that's all you got to do. Then YouTube will keep pushing that out to more similar viewers and see if they'll click and watch too. That is the whole trick. All right. So that's what you really want to pay attention to, is the target audience you're trying to reach and why they would want to watch your content. What do I do if my channel's dead, not engaging as before? Depends. You got to ask yourself, Flash, why is it not engaging? Why are people not clicking? Have you not changed your style up? Have you not given them anything new and refreshing to add to the conversation? I don't know what Flash Esports is, or Flash Esports. Is that what it is? Is that why it's a big E? So maybe I don't know what that is. Flash Esports. So I don't know if that's something to do with sports or sports games or whatever it is. The trick to having a channel grow is constantly be making content that people want to watch. People want to click and they want to watch. Well, for whatever reason, whether it's, they're learning something, you're teaching them something, it's really just fun to watch. There's some channels I watch just because they're fun. Things like, we talk about Hot Ones all the time, where, Sean Evans puts a bunch of famous people in front of him with a plate of 10 wings that have hotter and hotter sauce, and then he interviews them. So I think it's hysterical to watch these famous people get interviewed while they're eating wings and they start to cry because their mouths are on fire. So that's like smart. That's a smart way to build a channel. If you're going to do a channel that you wanted to, grow, you go like, hey, well, how can I make interviews more exciting? What if I started getting these people to eat hot wings? And now that he's become a staple, like now he can get really good guests on there because now everybody wants to be on the show. Some people don't because they don't want to eat hot wings, but he built that thing out in a way that it became really popular because people were invested in it. They're like, I want to see some of these famous people suffer while learning about their lives. So it's that whole idea of figure out how to stand out, how to be a little different, right? And if you can do that, reinvigorate your channel. Don't just keep putting out the same videos week after week that aren't performing and expect a different result. I think that's the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. If you're not getting the results you want, change things up. Figure out how you can do things differently, better, more compelling, more attractive to the viewer, and more invested into the conversation you want to have, okay? If I'm not driving a lot of views, I start thinking about how can I make sure I'm doing things that we're talking about video editing that I may not have talked about before? Well, I've never grabbed a 1 million plus viewed video, showed exactly how I edited it and showed the data, the back end, how much money it made, talked about all it took to be able to make a video that could drive 1 million views on my channel. I haven't done that before. So I'm trying this. Is it interesting? I hope so. So these are the kind of discussion, always think about the space you live in and how you can be more compelling to the audience you're trying to reach. All right. How do I feel about Russians? How do I feel about Russians? I love Russia. You got a kind of a crazy guy in charge over there, but did you see who our last president was here in the United States? I probably don't have any right to talk about crazy leaders. But Russia itself, I have some really good friends I've met over the years that are originally from Russia. Either they live there now or they come visit, or people who have moved to the United States who were originally from Russia. I love Russians. Great people. Very family oriented people who really like who love other people. You'd think the things you hear on the news sometimes about their leader, about Putin and stuff, you'd think that the Russians are wonderful people. I'm sorry to get on a tangent. Really old, but I know how to work. But I know to work with that with what I got, my dude. I get it. Make the most of what you have. Exactly, Yates. That's exactly it. Use what you got. I mean, listen, I'm going to be doing some tutorials on how to make content. Oh, look at that. Oh, I thought we were getting the view of both monitors there and the reflection. 1 and 2. Use what you got. I'm going to do more with using a mobile device because I've talked to a lot of creators in our community and I've asked them, you guys using cameras or mobile? And a good percentage of them are using mobile. So I'm going to be doing some things on how to film with your mobile and get better looking video. Using your mobile, how to edit it better, how to light it better, how to set up your shot, and be able to do things just with what you have in your hands. I'm going to be doing some content on how to make a really cheap microphone sound fantastic. And I'll make sure I put links to stuff that you guys can pick up because not everybody can afford like these, I'm blessed. I really am blessed. I love my job. I work really hard, but this is a $400 microphone and not everybody can afford, and there's a $1,000 microphone on top of me. Not everybody can afford, I couldn't afford those when I started. So I had to build up and get to that point. But knowing how to use what you have and getting them and squeeze the most out of it, some of the highest performing content on my channel was filmed with a broken phone, Samsung Galaxy S6. And it still does great. I think the third highest performing video on my channel it's one of the oldest and it was filmed with junk. So it just goes to show you just have to know what it is you're trying to create and connect with the people you're trying to connect with. All right, listen, we've been going on here for a while. I just want to thank you guys for hanging out. I hope this was helpful. If there's any questions you have that I didn't get to, make sure you leave those in comments down after this repost. I'm more than happy to come back in and talk to you about that kind of stuff. Thanks to our sponsors once again, StreamYard and Spreadshop, for allowing this to happen. Great. I got links down below where you can try out both the live streaming software and go set up your free Spreadshop shop yourself. So make sure you check out those links. And I think that's it. And thank you everybody for the super chats. That was really, really nice of you to do that. It is appreciated. So I will, I'll catch you all on the next one. All right, guys, have a great weekend. Peace.